Hello, I'm Dan, and I'm a sound designer and workshop leader at Sparks, and I'm going to be answering some questions that have been submitted about sound. So, what's the number one sound mistake? So, I would say the number one sound mistake is to just not consider sound just as important as the image. Um, so, we perceive films through our eyes and our ears, and the same amount of thought that goes into the image should go into the sound. Okay, and how did you get into sound? So I'm a musician and I studied music at university, and I became interested in music that was made up of recorded sounds as opposed to traditional musical instruments and musical sounds. Um, and from there, I became interested in soundtracks like Eraserhead from David Lynch, and then I did a master's degree in sound design. Why did you choose sound as your area of expertise? Um, so I chose sound because of those interests I initially had. So interests in sound and sound technology and the creative use of sound. I'm also interested in sound in the filmmaking process, as we less consciously read sound in the same way that we do images. So sound can affect us without us being consciously aware of how it's working, which I find interesting. Okay, so what jobs on a film production involve sound? So there's the production sound team. So that's the sound recordist who's in charge of recording the sound, the production sound, so the sound on the set, and the boom operator, who is the person holding a microphone at the end of a long boom pole, which is a very hard job. And there's the post-production sound team. So they will edit the sound that was recorded on set, make that sound good, and they will also add in sound effects, which they might take from a library, or they might record themselves or design themselves. There are Foley artists who create sound effects in sync with the image, which are mostly the sounds of characters interacting with their environment. So that could be footsteps, movements, the use of props, that type of thing. And there are mixers, so they'll be the people who will take all of those elements and mix them together into the final mix. Okay, and what is your favourite sound effect? So my favourite sound effect is probably good tactile Foley sounds. So the sounds of a character's interactions with their environment, their footsteps, movements, that type of thing. That can be a really good way of drawing the audience into a character and into the film as a whole. Okay, and what is the number one way to improve sound on a home camera setup? So the thing that's going to make the biggest difference would be to think about the environment you're shooting in. So to make sure not to shoot somewhere that's too loud, and to do things like close windows, turn off any electricals that are producing a hum, and also to not shoot somewhere that's going to be too echoey or reverberant. Those things will make the biggest difference. And what equipment would you consider essential? Well, the only things that I would consider essential would be a microphone, some type of editing software, so that could be something free like iMovie, and a decent-ish pair of headphones or speakers. I think those are the only things that I'd consider essential. And top tips for improving sound. So I think thinking carefully about the shooting locations of your film is really important. So making sure you're not filming somewhere that's going to be too loud or too reverberant. So making or recording as many of your own sound effects as possible is really good, as opposed to using sounds from a library. And recording as many wild tracks as you can on set. So the sounds of the actors footsteps on set, and maybe doors opening and props on set as well is really good for creating sound effects that sort of sit well with the film. And also just to watch as many films as you can and think about the soundtracks and think about what aspects of them you liked or you found effective. Okay, so thank you very much, and thanks for your questions. I hope you find the answers useful, and hopefully see you at one of our workshops soon.